The four of us cousins were enjoying our stories, just shooting the breeze. Anyway, there are both girls and guys here. Plus, we had people over a wide spread of ages. Adult, high school, and elementary school. Even if we just talked about our own lives, the other three kept listening attentively. I think I'm finally getting used to all this. Jessica and Maria have grown more than I could have imagined in the past 6 years. To be honest, I was feeling a bit uncomfortable, but talking like this, I guess that on the inside, nothing's really changed since back then.
I agree. You haven't changed a bit, even after 6 years. Even though your body's gotten gigantic, you're still a kid inside.
Ooh! I'm a kid too! I'm a kid too! I love Maria.
You are a kid inside.
Well, even you aren't going to be a kid forever, are you, Maria? I mean, you're going to transform from a kid into a cute young lady, ain't ya? And when that happens, that flat as a board chest will reach Jessica's level, huh?
I fucking hate you.
He's already going after Maria.
I hope you burn in hell.
Hey, it's not me. When that happens, you gotta let me touch him, okay?
Oh my god!
It's
Did you just ask a 9-year-old to touch your titties?
It's a promise. You'll have your chance to hit me, please.
Oh, thank god.
Ooh! Let you touch him! Promise! Ooh!
Jessica, fuck.
Jessica, intervene.
No, Maria-chan.
Thank you.
You can't make that kind of promise. That's bad. Bad, bad.
Ooh? I promised, so I'll let him touch him. I keep my promises.
Fuck!
Always keep them. Ooh! Maria, you really are an earnest good girl.
You're going to hell.
The guy you marry is gonna be really lucky.
Hey, stop trying to change the subject by making it sound pretty. Maria, that promise never happened. Never.
Ooh! The promise is cancelled? Ooh.
As I thought, without Battler Kun in our little quartet, this group of cousins just didn't feel complete.
Unless someone's trying to get at the 9-year-old, fucking just shit's not like normal.
If he tries to fuck a 9-year-old, I'm gonna kick his ass.
He doesn't.
Ugh.
Not yet.
I'm gonna beat you. These 6 years have been kind of lonely. That's true. We didn't really goof off like that. Still, we did have some pretty constructive conversations, right? Stuff about preparing for our future, exam taking, finding jobs.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Now that I'm here, we just talk about stupid stuff and mess around. But I'm having more fun this year. Ooh.
That's true. I agree, this year's the most fun yet.
Maria's sincere words probably spoke for everyone present. George Anki stroked Maria's head, and she giggled like a happy kitten. I love Maria.
Something about that line feels like
That's creepy.
uncomfortable.
It's
Probably wouldn't feel as much if it wasn't for the exchange that just
If
happened.
it didn't come from Battler.
Yeah.
Maybe it came from like
She
Jessica.
giggled like a happy kid.
Wow.
Oh god.
It's nothing weird about it.
There's a lot weird
There's
about
nothing
Battler.
weird about it.
Oops.
Badly.
But who?
Keep going. Oh, Shannon?
Genji? Like any servant, it's a servant, I guess.
Keep
That's-
going. Shannon,
Okay.
absolutely.
Pardon me, your meal is ready.
A timid knocking
Wait.
sound.
Well, I guess this is a way. Or is this there? This is there, isn't it? Never
What?
mind.
Yeah.
I was thinking if I'm narrating or you are.
No, I am.
Yeah, alright.
A timid knocking sound, and the equally timid voice of a young woman came through the door.
This is that scene.
Yeah, and of course it is. Jessica answered brightly.
Shannon, come on, come in. You remember Battler, right?
Jessica stood up from the bed and opened the door. There stood a servant girl who must have been about our age. Yeah.
It's been some time since we last met, Battler-sama. It's nice to see you after 6 years. It's me, Shannon.
Trembling a little as she noticed me, she bowed deeply.
Backdoor.
Ah! Jessica had me surprised, but look at you, Shannon-chan.
Oh my fuck.
You turned into a total beauty too, haven't you?
That poor girl probably has such bad back pain.
Honestly.
You are too kind.
I'm gonna grip the fuck out of you, Nathan.
God damn it, no.
Still, the food on this island must be really nutritional, huh?
I fucking hate you, Battler.
What are you eating and how are you training to get boobs that big? Oh my god. Guess I'll have to feel them a bit and see whether yours or Jessica's are bigger, okay? With both hands poised and saliva dribbling from my mouth, I closed in. That was a fucking evil human being. For the sake of justice and my personal honor, I'd like to point out that I don't suffer from some strange disease that makes my lymph nodes itch until I scratch my neck open, and which can only be prevented by fondling breasts. This is just Battler's style method of communication. If I close it in her like this, odds are 8 or 9 out of 10 that I get slapped or clobbered, right?
Battler, this is why no one fucks you.
Honestly. So I can use this Battler-sama original technique to spark a gag like that and break the ice. Well, it also means that I do get to touch them on the 1 in 10 chance I get through, right? Yeah. Like that had ever happened.
I hate that laugh.
He pulled it off, though.
You're kidding.
Jesus, Shannon.
No.
At that point, my hands were less than a centimeter away from Shannon's boobs, but the counter-strike had yet to come.
Oh my god.
She blushed and lowered her head in embarrassment when she realized what was going on. But she just stood there with both hands politely joined in front of her, not even trying to resist or cover her breasts. Hey, I wasn't planning on this. Please hit me right now, or I'm seriously gonna... Which is why I was glad that Jessica chose that time to drive her elbow into the back of my head.
Damn.
Gah!
That's fucking me.
Oh, fuck.
Gah! Ow! Thank you so much, Jessica!
Why the hell are you thanking me?
I love that.
Seriously, my bad, Shannon-chan.
I love the facial expression.
Me too, I love Battler. I almost got overwhelmed by your hypnotic chest. Cool.
You are a piece
More
of
importantly, anyone who gets that close to you has got to be a molester. You've
What?
got to fight back when people do that.
But you are an important guest, Battler-sama.
Fuck,
shit.
Shannon.
Oh, Shannon,
Goddamn
no.
Now look here, a pervert's a pervert whether he's a guest or not. A girl's chest had got an air defense identification range of about 10 centimeters or so. Once someone trespasses within 2 centimeters, that's already an invasion of airspace, so you'd better scramble the jets immediately and give him an instant slap.
I couldn't do such a thing
Yes, you could.
because we are, furniture.
Jesus.
You're fucking kidding me,
My
right?
Well, while your
Sorry.
phone goes off.
That's my alarm telling
At
me
least it
consider
wasn't-
sleeping for the love of God.
Oh my god.
That is still my alarm.
It's
It was-
11:30, by the
It was
way.
better than Beatrice. last
Hey,
time.
whoever's listening to this, if someone ever tries to grab your tits, immediately kick their fucking dick in.
I mean, like, yeah, Battler says that
I mean,
too.
like, 9
You're,
times out
basically, you're just agreeing with Battler.
Yes,
oh, here's the thing.
but
9 times out of 10 it's gonna happen, but one of those times it's not. So keep that in mind. You
I will
fucking
kick
re-
your dick in. I will literally put my foot so far up your
Let's
crotch that
continue,
your dick
please.
is in your heart and you die.
Say that now?
Let's no one be like Battler. Okay.
Please.
Of course, she didn't want her breasts touched, but if a guest so desired, she was prepared to sacrifice herself to suit their wants. Fuck, okay.
Oh, poor baby.
What the
Honestly.
fuck?
A girl like this needs some urgent protection.
Yeah.
To think such a devoted girl still existed in this era,
Oh, fuck
it's
you.
enough to make a man dizzy.
Oh, shut the fuck up.
But no. No! I'm coming at you with a perverted face again. Knock me down. Look out, pervert on the loose. This gag can't end until you deliver the punchline, so slap me. Please! Hit me!
Hit him. Hit him.
Don't hit me, please.
I cannot fulfill your request because I'm furniture. But if it were in order, I'd obey you because that is my duty.
Then I'm making it an order.
Fucking no! Please read your line.
The next time Battler tries to touch your breasts, counterattack with a slap. Got it?
Yes. As you wish.
She looks real happy about that.
She does. She's like, fucking thank you, George.
From now on, that's what I'll do. Please understand, Battler-sama.
Chan announced this while bowing elegantly to me.
Browsing. She's just on the internet fucking elegantly.
She's shit
in
posting.
fucking 1986.
Excuse me, what?
Her expression was radiant. I gave her a thumbs up to show her I was fine with that. 6 years ago, you might have been mistaken for a servant's daughter who lent a hand at your parents' work. But now you're a real full-fledged adult servant. How long have you been working here?
Well, I've had the pleasure of serving this household for about 10 years.
She's...
Shannon?
yeah, word. The kanji for her name are read as Shannon.
Shannon?
Now here's another name that's far from typical for a Japanese person. Back in the day, I was a kid myself, so I accepted her name without paying it much attention. Thinking about it now, though, her name's pretty unusual, even though she's not a member of the Ushiromiya family. Maybe it's like a servant's professional name or something. If so, that might explain why her name's so similar to Kennen-kun, that kid I met earlier in the Rose Garden. She's a long-term servant who served here since she was 6 years old. Her appearance had changed so much that I couldn't match her to the person of my memories, but we both knew each other 6 years ago. That shy part of her had always been there, but she did seem to have developed the allure you'd expect of a girl her age. Especially in her breasts, yes.
That kid we met earlier, Kennen-kun, is her little brother. The fuck?
That explains it. He's not exactly my little brother. Still, he loves me like a big sister. He didn't cause you any trouble, did he?
He's the same as always.
Incompetent?
Fuck you.
No, that's bad.
Yeah, that is battle.
If only he was... If only he were just a little bit more sociable.
I apologize if he caused you any trouble.
Nah, he didn't cause any trouble at all. As a fellow man, I understand how moody you can get at that age. It's no surprise he's unsociable. Ooh! I get called that all the time, too! I get called unsociable! Just like Cannon! Ooh!
Oof.
You aren't unsociable at all, Maria-sama.
Ooh? Wanted to be like him. Ooh.
You said the meal was ready, right?
Ah, yes. I'm sorry. Your meal has been fully prepared, so please allow me to guide you all to the mansion.
Shannon bowed again formally and returned to her duty mode. Jesus, Scott. We realized that if we made her stick around for any more light conversation, it would actually make it harder for her to do her job. We got up off our butts to avoid interfering with her work any further.
So, shall we go to the mansion? Everyone's probably hungry, right? Yeah. I'm really looking forward to Goto-san's food. That guy was apparently a chef at
I'm sorry.
It's fine.
Go
Let me-
back.
Yeah.
Back it
Oh, how do I do it? Is there like a button?
It's the arrow keys.
Really? Every time I try that, it doesn't work.
It's
It's
right
left and right. I assumed it was up and down. That's why. Okay. Oh,
Who's man?
Jesus. Oh, Jesus. It's not.
Oof.
There we go. Where were you?
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to Goto-san's food. That guy was apparently a chef at some famous hotel. He's a super good at cooking.
He's a super good at cooking.
Oh, I can't wait!
Fuck yeah.
Let's go, Maria.
Finally someone agree with you.
We're gonna stuff ourselves like pigs. Ooh! Stuff ourselves like pigs!
No. You can't take everything Battler-kun says seriously, okay? Because he's always just joking around.
Half the time he is.
Okay, let's go.
Oh,
Fuck me, I guess.
Under Shannon-chan's guidance, we headed towards the mansion.
Ooh, nice.
I love the Rose Garden.
I can tell it's very pretty.
Met once again by the magnificent Rose Garden, we continue onward as the intimidating mansion of the Ushiromiya head family came into view. 1 second. It had apparently been built shortly after the war, so you could feel the dignity of almost half a century hanging about it. The building was gorgeous on the surface, but old as it was, equipment such as its AC and heating were apparently quite frail. According to Jessica, midwinter was especially tough, with all the drafts. Haven't these people ever heard of a kotatsu?
What's a
traditional American kotatsu.
Yeah.
It's a table with a blanket
Eat your hamburgers,
over it,
Apollo.
and there's a heater underneath, and you put like your body in there.
Oh, that door's
That's
squeaky
nice.
sound.
Oh my god. As we entered the entrance hall, an aged servant greeted us. Now him, I remembered. Genji-san, who had been working here longer than anyone, filled the role of head servant.
Oh, by the way, I was thinking we could do the tips just to
Brothers.
met everybody, and they've all.
So, after Kraus?
Yeah, and also because I think like Kraus and Kinzo haven't been introduced through the tips when they have that sound.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, because I think
Battler-sama, it has been some time since we last met.
As our eyes met, he greeted me with a calm, composed voice. His bow wasn't as graceful or refined as Goto's, but despite its simplicity, it communicated his feelings very well. Genji-san, it really has been a while. You look well.
Thank you. I have been quite well. And Balor-sama, you have become a splendid young man. You are beginning to resemble the master in his youth.
Oh, maybe next time. I look like grandfather? Guess that means grandfather was pretty popular with the ladies when he was young.
I was.
From here on, I shall take Shannon's place and accompany you. Please, come this way.
Shannon chatted bowed deeply and watched us leave. After that, we headed towards the dining room under Genji-san's guidance. Genji-san, just like Kumasawa-san, stood in stark contrast to us young people who had grown beyond recognition over the last 6 years. His appearance was exactly the same as in my memories from 6 years ago. It was as though time had stopped since the last time we met. Genji-san was an extremely quiet and diligent person. He was basically grandfather's close aide or caregiver. You might even call him grandfather's companion of many years. In fact, it seems he was by grandfather's side even more often than my late grandmother was. According to Jessica, grandfather trusted him more than any of his blood relatives. But I wonder how long he served. I never got the details, but I heard something about him being here since the very beginning, when his mansion was first constructed. Which would mean that he's dedicated half his life to serving here. This song's so good. It's easy to see why he's so trusted. As we passed through the massive hall that extended up into the second story of the mansion with no separating floor, I spotted something that hadn't existed in my memory of 6 years ago.
Is this what I think it is?
I know what this is.
No.
Hello, Queen.
Is this? Yep.
Beatrice is hot.
Huh. Well, I'll be damned.
It was an awfully big portrait hanging right in front of the stairs that rose to the second floor. Without thinking, I stopped walking, captivated by it.
Me too.
Yeah. Since I stopped so fast, Maria, who was following behind me, ran into my back. Ooh? Ah, sorry. Hey, Jessica. Has that picture always been there? I pointed at the big, prominently displayed portrait in the hall. Everyone else stopped too.
Oh, right. When you last came here, that hadn't been hung up yet, had it? When was it again? Well, if my memory doesn't fail me, it was put on display sometime around the year before last.
You are correct, sir. In April of the year before last, the master put it on display there, having previously ordered a painter to create it.
Grandfather did that? So he paid to have it painted just for him, huh? Shut up. I don't hear that.
Scott.
The portrait suited this western mansion, and that woman in the elegant dress gave off a sense of refinement. I couldn't have guessed her age, but her sharp eyes and the strong will she seemed to possess made her look youthful. She seemed somehow different from the composed, middle-aged women you often see in famous pictures. If she had normal black hair, I might have assumed it was a portrait of my long-deceased grandmother in her prime. However, she had beautiful blonde hair and didn't look Japanese at all. So, wait, is that Bella? Just who is this lady?
Yeah, it's bad.
Marie answered that simple question enthusiastically, proud as though she knew the answer. Ooh! I know! She's Beatrice! What?
Beatrice!
God damn it.
Beatrice. She's a witch. Didn't you ever hear stories about her long ago?
A witch? You mean the witch of this island? I think I already said this. Burokenjima is a small island, only 10 kilometers in circumference. However, that's actually pretty massive, considering that only the Yoshiromiya family lives here. So only the harbor and the area around the mansion were set up to be lived in. Beyond that, the island remained as untouched as it was when it was uninhabited. The vast and empty forest had absolutely no lights, phones, or people passing through. To understand how dangerous that is, you need to forget your common sense as a city dweller. After all, if you happen to fall down a hole in the depths of the forest and sprain your ankle, no one would come to save you, no matter how much you cried or screamed. Then, once the sun went down, the forest would be wrapped in complete darkness, since there was no streetlights. And since there were no signs, it'd be easy to get lost and confused, losing your sense of direction inside the dark forest. Nowadays, most people see a forest as a peaceful place. But to the people of bygone eras, before the light of civilization drove out the night, forests were as geographically separated from civilization as the sea. They were oceans above the ground. Fishermen who go out into the ocean are putting their lives at risk, despite their technical knowledge. In the same way, hunters who go out into the forest are in danger, despite their having their specialized knowledge of their own. If children were to go to plant such a dangerous forest, something terrible might happen. Someone's parents must have thought so too. Maybe grandmother first said it, maybe it was grandfather himself. Or perhaps the story's been passed down this island since the ancient times. There's a terrible witch in the forest, so you must not go in. At some point, this ghost story of Rokkenjima was born. This is the legend of the Rokkenjima's witch. That's why, when we talk about a witch on this island, we're referring to the master of the vast and savage forest. Come to think of it, when I stayed at this mansion as a little kid, during those eerie nights when the wind and the rain poured on the windows, I remember being terrified by a story of the forest witch, who roamed around searching for human sacrifices. So, Beatrice, huh? When Anarchy mentioned it, I searched my memory and was sure that I recalled hearing a name like that when I was little. I see. Still, I totally forgot that the witch in that legend had an elegant name like Beatrice. So, did grandfather go out of his way to have a portrait made, just because we grandchildren didn't believe the story?
She's the witch from Grandfather's Delusions. Ever since he had this picture hanged, he's been having a harder and harder time telling the difference between truth and fantasy. To us, she's just a witch that exists in Grandfather's mind, but to him, she's a being that exists on this island.
Quotation marks.
Exists. He says he had the painting made because the rest of us would be incapable of understanding otherwise. The whole thing's creepy as hell.
Milady,
Step forward a little more.
this portrait is precious to the master. I beg of you, do not say such things in front of him.
I know. Even if he didn't tell me, I'd never do something like that.
Jessica glanced at the portrait with an irritated gaze before turning away.
Let's go. We're making everyone wait in the dining room.
Ooh! I'm hungry! Only a small portion of this island was controlled by the Ushiromiya family. All of the lawless remainder was the domain of the witch, Beatrice. You might even call her the true ruler of Rokkenjima. I felt a faint revival of that unsettling sense of misfortune, which I'd felt when I learned of the titular god shrine being struck by lightning. And I remember that Kurosawa-san tried to tell an ominous story about Rokkenjima before Jessica stopped her.
Oh.
I don't know what she was planning to tell us about this island. But I do know one thing. It isn't the Ushiromiya family that rules Rokkenjima. It's the witch, Beatrice. That's right. After all, this is the witch's island. Clear again? Battler! Ooh, you're slow!
You're too slow.
When I looked around, everyone was already heading towards the dining room. I hurriedly chased after them. Damn. Whip so hard you fucking crack your arm. We walked up to the huge double doors that led to the dining room. Genji-san knocked.
I have brought the children. Please pardon the intrusion.
The doors were opened and we were invited inside. Oh, this song. The dining room, which looked exactly like you'd imagine a rich person's dining room to be, had a super long table that was obviously positioned with no purpose other than to make the guests conscious of their rank. Our parents were already sitting in accordance with that ordering.
You're late, brats. Hurry up and take a seat.
The old bastard pressed us to sit. The only gaps in that group of people were the spots where we were supposed to sit, which made us feel our tardiness all the more. The seats at the head table, called the Incipient's chair, was for the most highly ranked, reserved for grandfather. It was still empty. He probably wanted to show up last for dramatic effect. From the perspective of someone facing the incipient's chair head-on, the seating order went from left to right, with the lower rank seatings progressing in rows of 2 further away from it. So the left-hand side of the first row, closest to the incipient's chair, was where Uncle Kraus would have sat, since he was the second highest in rank. It looked like he hadn't arrived yet, so the seat was empty. Across from his chair, on the right side of the first row, sat the eldest daughter of the family, Aunt Ava, who was the third highest in rank. The left-hand side of the second row was for the fourth highest in rank. Fucking okay, Rudolph, click the button. There sat my damn dad, Rudolph, the third of the siblings. Across from him, on the right side of the second row, sat Aunt Rosa, the youngest sibling. At this point, you might expect their husbands and wives to come next. But nope. The left-hand seat in the third row, ranked number 6, belonged to Jessica. Opposite her was George Aniki. I sat next to Jessica, and Maria sat across from me. And finally, next to me on the left-hand side of the 5th row, sat Aunt Natsuhi, the 10th highest in rank.
Oof.
Opposite to her was Uncle Hideyoshi.
Oof.
Next to Aunt Natsuhi, in the 6th row and the final seat on the left-hand side, sat Kyrie-san. The seat opposite to Kyrie-san was empty, even though silverware had been set there and everything. According to this ranking system, that spot was where Aunt Rosa's husband should be sitting. Even though he wasn't supposed to be coming, his place was made up. Normally, ranking systems of this sort give spouses equal position as their partners, but the Ushiromiya family system was unique. Maybe it's a remnant of male chauvinism. If you start with the assumption that a woman's womb is just something to be borrowed, then the children of direct descent would come first, directly followed by the grandchildren. In other words, spouses have no blood ties and are therefore placed at the end of the line. It's terrible, but by this system, my grandmother would be ranked even lower than me if she were still alive. In their youth, they obey their father. After they get married, their husband. After aging, their children. There's an old saying, women have no home in any realm. Long ago, when I was still incapable of figuring all this out, I thought it was so great that we could all chat in our little groups, adult siblings with adult siblings, and cousins with cousins. However, now I can re-examine the seating order after growing up a bit. It stirs up some very complicated feelings in me. Aunt Natsuki, who was married to the eldest son and was the de facto number 2 in managing this family, sat to my right, which meant that she was 2 steps lower than me in the ranking order. Oh, I'm out of breath.
You mind healing?
I'm chilling.
Okay.
It was hard to imagine what might be going on inside her heart.
Oof.
That's why I made a small apologetic gesture towards her before sitting down. How nice to see you, Batsula-kun. You've grown up quite tall, haven't you? Oh, yep. 6 long years of eating well, sampling various cuisines, and deriving sustenance from Mother Earth's bountiful gifts. Hard work, but I pulled through. Growing just like a boy, I see.
Androids.
How tall are you now? Guess about 180 centimeters? But not Natsuhi. That's where you're supposed to say, heck, sounds like all you did was eat. Oh, I'm sorry. After a short pause, she did laugh with me, but it seemed like she couldn't quite figure out what she was supposed to be laughing at. This woman, Aunt Natsuhi. She's the wife of the eldest son of the family, meaning she's my father's older brother's wife. Is it simpler if I just call her Jessica's mother? It feels bad to say it like this. While I don't exactly dislike her, I don't particularly like her either. She hardly ever spoke with us kids, and all my memories of her involve her talking to the adults about complicated things with a scary look on her face. In fact, since we hardly ever exchanged words, I spent a long time trying to figure out how I should approach her. Though my efforts seem to have ended in failure. I love you, Natsuhi. The silverware sat neatly on the table, but the meal itself hadn't been brought in yet. As a general rule, you couldn't start a meal until the person sitting at the head of the table arrived. So as long as grandfather didn't come, lunch would be put on hold indefinitely. Not even the appetizers would arrive. Simply put, the silence in this room was caused by our parents enduring their hunger while they waited for grandfather to arrive. However, the grandfather from my memories would always show up on time to meals like this. He was the kind of person who would never be so late that it kept everyone waiting, especially after the entire group had arrived. Grandfather was pretty late. As far as I can remember, he was always strict about time.
Well, that might have been true 6 years ago. But it hasn't been that way lately. In fact, he's off in his own little world so often that he doesn't even show up at family meals. Still, I figured he'd at least come down today. Then again, I feel a lot more relaxed and happy without him.
Jessica! When her mother scolded her, Jessica stuck her tongue out and looked away. Fuck you. No way around it. Might as well wait until our host arrives. What? When I glanced at the clock, I saw that it was almost 12:20. That's her fucking mom, man.
What?
What? I mean,
What? What do you
That was
mean?
like more of a literal fuck you.
Oh, okay.
You know?
Oh.
Ushiram, wait, you want to narrate now?
Is this? I guess, yeah, because it's not an. Okay. Ooh, I'm excited. Ushiramiya Kinzo, the aged family head of the Ushiramiya head family. This man could be seen in his study. The clock had already passed noon, but he didn't even attempt to rise from his seat. With his spectacles on, he built up a growing pile of books with elaborate bindings, which he then read intently. You couldn't really say that he was having too much fun to stop. Rather, he filled the room with a sense of impatience, or perhaps a sense of impending danger, as though every second wasted was a tragedy. In this sealed room, a dense dust danced through the air, which was thick with the stench of chemicals that exuded a mix of suspicious odors. Those odors were somehow sweet and heavy. If anyone with a normal nose came in here, the first thing they do would be to open a window and ventilate this room. The knocking against the study door had been going on for a while. A voice calling "Father" sometimes mingled with the knocks. As Kinzo heaved a deep sigh, he snapped shut the old book in his hands and slammed it on the table. Then he yelled at Kraus, who was still knocking on the door. "Silence! Enough with that racket, you fool! Who told you the door would be opened if you but knocked? I'll crucify the imbecile. Do you wish to suffer the same fate? Father, this is the day of the family conference, which happens only once a year, is it not? Everyone's gathered down below. Please come out." Kraus called out to his father through the door. Kinzo always shut himself up in the study, hating it when nearly anyone, even his family, entered the room. What'd I do? Fuck.
Left.
Yeah. Oh, Jesus.
How'd you skip so much?
Oh, no. For that reason, Kraus... Did I already say that? For that reason, Kraus had no choice but to call him from the corridor like this. "Molest me not! Just who is this everyone of which you speak? Do you mean the fools trying to drag me out of here? Then kill them all! Tear them apart, use their bodies for firewood, and feed them into the witch's hearth. Put a pot in that hearth to boil the wormwood, for it's the imbeciles who dare try to lure me out of here to drink the broth of the apocalypse. I will soak their dregs in liquor. Ah, where is Genji? Call for Genji! Have my demonic absinthe prepared. The whispering of the green fairy reaches me no longer. Ah, where is Genji? Bring him here!" On the other side of the door, Kraus, Nanjo, and Genji kept waiting for the master of the house, who stubbornly refused to come out. Looks like he hates me to the core. My voice doesn't reach him anymore. Kraus shrugged as though saying, "It's no use," and smiled bitterly. From the beginning, he hadn't really expected his father to respond to his calls. However, since it was the duty of the eldest son, he had tried it as a formality.
Kinzo-san, your sons, daughters, and grandchildren have come here to see you, have they not? Could you just let them see your face, if only for a short while?
Shut up! Be silent! You dare to admonish me, Nanjo! I never told anyone to get you. I told them to get Genji! Now call for him immediately! Time is short, and the apostles are already readying their trumpets. So why can you foolish sheep understand? Kinzo slammed an old, heavy book against the table over and over. That racket clearly expressed his great displeasure. Kinzo put his spectacles down and flew up from his chair. He spread his arms wide open, as to sing to a packed opera house, as if appealing to someone, and yelled, "Why? Why is there always something in my way? I would throw it all away. I would offer up everything, and there is only one thing I ask in repayment. Oh, Beatrice, if I could see your smile but one more time, I would plunder the smiles of the earth and offer them all up to you. Oh, commanders of the legions of locusts, reap the smiles of the earth. Oh, everything is filthy. Everything is irksome. Why must I suffer this impediment on this most precious of days? Call for Genji!
That's so good, Scott.
Scott, do you fucking need my inhaler after that? Shit.
Fine.
It's here if you need it.
Shit.
I'm just gonna leave it out.
I love
That
this.
sounded painful. How do you feel? How's your throat?
So, I feel fine. No, that coffee was like a little too genuine.
Yeah, no, do you want me to make you some tea when we get back?
Oh, that'd be nice.
Okay, I will.
Hmm.
I'll get some honey.
I have no idea what he's yelling about. He's probably lost his mind by now.
Who the fuck?
Kraus, son. Isn't it a bit harsh to say such a thing of your own father?
My father is already dead. There's nothing here but a phantom of what father once was. At any rate, as long as he has no intention of coming out, there's nothing we can do.
Kinzo-san.
Choking coughs continue to pour out from the study. I'm going back downstairs. It would be a waste to let the fruits of Goda's prized cooking talent get any colder. It's one of the few things our relatives can look forward to when they come to this house. Kraus spun around. He looked at his watch, mumbling and acting as though he had wasted time doing something he knew would be in vain. Genji-san, father is calling for you. Keep him company.
Certainly.
Dr. Nanjo, let's go eat. If we stay here any longer, the sweet stench will ruin our sense of taste. Without waiting for Nanjo, Kraus went downstairs. Genji urged Nanjo to go and eat. Nanjo glanced between the study door and Kraus's back as the latter disappeared down the stairs, and let out a deep sigh.
Sorry, Genji-san. But please, allow me to leave this in your hands.
Yes. Please leave it to me.
Do what you can to avoid giving him alcohol. That's... Oh.
That's a habit that's far too difficult to break.
Wasn't that still
Oh, well, forget it.
Nanjo? Oh well.
Works either way.
Is Genji not here yet? Who dares keep Genji from coming? Where's Genji? Call for Genji!
Please, allow me to handle the situation here.
Very well. Forgive me.
Nanjo bowed slightly and descended the stairs. Genji watched him leave, then knocked on the study door.
Master, it is Genji.
Genji! Why have you kept me waiting for so long? You're alone, I trust?
Correct. I am alone.
Kinzo returned to his seat in the study and pressed an old-fashioned switch on the table. After a small delay, the heavy sound of the door unlocking could be heard. Kinzo was convinced that his family wanted to make a mess of his study. Or perhaps someone had once opened the window for some air and ended up scattering some things that, to him, were important research materials, leaving him in a terrible mood. Kinzo had outfitted his room with a formidable lock, preventing anyone from entering without his permission, and thereby sealing himself in a jail of his own making. Genji, whom he trusted the most, was relatively free to enter the room, but even that didn't always hold. If Kinzo was in a bad mood, even Genji wouldn't be able to enter. Anyone else would be limited to holding a conversation through the door, unable to even see Kinzo's face. And most of the time what they got could hardly be called a conversation. However, this didn't trouble the rest of the family much. After all, it just wasn't worth the effort to disturb this aging family head, who was impossible to please and always stayed shut away, immersed in his research. Taking advantage of his refusal to leave his room, they supported his isolation, putting his care entirely into the hands of the servants. Genji, my usual. I'm busy.
Yes, sir.
Genji headed to a corner of the study. There, suspicious-looking bottles boasting venomous colors were on display. They were actually liquor, but considering the shitty atmosphere of this room, one might easily suspect them of being some ghastly poison. Inside the study, this mysterious collection of books gathered by Kinzo had grown into a mountain. They were bizarre, ancient, or banned books, all of them either forbidden, cursed, or sealed. But if you tried to call them old books, Kinzo would fly into a rage and say, "Call them grimoires!" There were also many mysterious objects presumably held some meaning with regards to black magic, like candles suspiciously melted and molded into strange shapes. The constellations drawn on a certain celestial globe contained quite a few shapes that would draw puzzled looks from anyone familiar with today's night sky. The carelessly strewn about books contained many illustrations, all of them are of a religious or mysterious nature, including some depicting demonically grotesque subjects or bizarre diagrams of various magic circles. And above all, a sweet, poisonous smell filled the room, profoundly assaulting the eyes and noses of those who entered for the first time. Eventually, it must surely make a person go numb and lose their grip on reality. Inside that study, Genji prepared Kinzo's usual drink with a well-trained hand. No one would even think of drinking such an ominous, dark green liquid in that complex and ornate glass unless someone first told them it was alcohol. He poured a little into the glass. Then he placed a cube of sugar in a strangely shaped spoon and poured water from a pitcher over it. Strangely, when the transparent water was poured, the dark green liquid turned a cloudy white. It was a strange optical illusion, as though the water had caused a chemical reaction and made the drink become even more unrecognizable as liquor. Then, Genji added original flavors Kinzo loved, fine-tuning its taste. There was no recipe. Its success was measured only by Kinzo's mood swings when he drank it, and it had taken Genji many decades to learn how to do it right. Genji placed the glass on a tray and walked over to Kinzo. By this time, Kinzo was gazing out the window.
Here, master.
Thank you. Kinzo had regained his composure and was now unrecognizable as the shouting, screaming, yelling man from a few moments ago. Looking at this man from behind as he tilted his glass and gazed down at the scenery beyond the window, he projected a sense of dignity and intelligence. To allow Kinzo to set his glass down at any time, Genji motionlessly waited behind Kinzo and to his left, as though he were a living sideboard.
Furniture, one might say.
Then, without averting his eyes from the window, Kinzo held out his glass. There was only a mouthful remaining. It was not a gesture intended to set it upon the tray, but a motion to hand the glass over to Genji. Drink, my friend.
Your words are too kind for me.
No need for ceremony between us. Drink, my friend.
Thank you.
Genji respectfully received the glass and inclined it a little to taste its contents. After that, he gulped it down. I am tempted to imitate your concoction, but no matter how I try, I cannot replicate the taste. The way you make it is pure relish.
Thank you very much. It is the fruit of your guidance, master.
Kinzo smiled at his loyal subject, who refused to put aside rank even when asked to. However, he was not making fun of him. His smile was relaxed, as though chuckling at a close friend's old, unshakable habit. We have grown old together. I stopped counting the years long ago.
It is entirely thanks to you, master, that I have been able to live like this until today.
Kinzo gave a faint smile, as if to say he didn't need any flattery. Until now, you have served me exceedingly well. My sons call me eccentric. The servants that were once many have all quit in fear of me. Only you serve me even now.
Your words are more than I deserve.
My life will not last much longer. My sons are vultures, lazily waiting for my inheritance to fall into their hands. Kraus is a fool who squanders money like water, who throws away 2 gold coins to obtain 1. And then he has the gall to claim that he's earned money. Ava is a slave to money, who thinks of me as a mere chicken. When I die, she plans to use my bones to make a broth. That dunce Rudolph just wants to fool around with women. Rosa bore the baby of a man who came from nowhere and about whom we know nothing. Jessica is incompetent and uneducated. George has none of what it takes to be a man. Battler is a fool who threw away the honor of the Ushiromiya family. And Maria is obscene to the eye.
Actually, why do you have to diss Maria?
Okay, though I have to agree with his diss on Battler.
Why is the Ushiromiya blood so incompetent? Is there no one worthy to inherit the glory I built? Of course, I know. This is part of Beatrice's curse. I know it. You golden witch. Are you trying to take revenge against me in this way? If you want to hate me, then do so. If you want to run away, then run. I won't let you go. I won't let you go, won't let you go, won't let you go! You belong to me! You must always be in my arms. For all my life. You must stay in my birdcage for all eternity, whispering only to me. Beatrice! Why won't you smile back at me? Beatrice!
I love Umineko so much.
Okay.
God
Okay, Scott, are you alive? Are you
I
okay?
swear
Are
to
you
God, if we
breathing?
get called on
After-
for like a murder.
After howling,
We're going
Kinzo choked once
We're
again.
8 minutes after midnight, so technically.
Genji set the
Thank you,
tray
kids.
and glass down and rubbed his master's back. Genji's facial expression did not change. I have actual tears in my eyes right now. I'm not sure.
Scott. It's real tragic, I know.
It was always like this. Thank you, my friend. When his seemingly deranged fit subsided, Kinzo regained his composure once again. It was like seeing two different people, a wild Kinzo and a composed Kinzo, living together inside one body. And so, I have decided. I cannot bear to spend my dimmed remaining years procrastinating like this. If I have one final coin to bet, then I choose to abandon it to the whims of the demon's roulette. The power of magic is always determined by the risk of the gamble. Like visiting a shrine at the hour of the ox in ancient Japanese sorcery to nail a cursed doll to a tree. Magical power is produced specifically because of the risk that it will be seen within the 7 days the curse takes. The greater the risk, the stronger the magic power will be. Many miracles that happened in myth might be called the crystallization of shocking magic power, with a low probability of occurrence and astronomical risk. That Moses parted the waters of the sea was not a miracle of God. The risk of that desperate situation, cornered by soldiers on the Red Sea's shores, weighed upon the scales of slaughter and gave birth to that miraculous magic power. If the same thing occurred again on the same scale, the sea would surely fail to part. After all, Moses was able to magnificently summon a miracle engraved on but one of the countless innumerable results on the roulette of those with power. This is the force that can triumph over astronomical odds. Indeed, good fortune that can grasp miracles is magical power itself. To obtain this mighty power, one must face the risk of despair. Those who possess no magical power may call that desperation rather than a bet. However, people who truly do possess magic power can grasp hold of that miracle and make the enigma come into being. And if that power exists within me, I'll seize that miracle. I'll have a chance at making the wish I devoted my life towards come true. Kinzo looked up to the sky outside the window. He spread his arms as if appealing to someone in the skies. If only I were capable of grasping that miracle. Oh, Beatrice, Beatrice, show me your lovely smile once more. No matter how much time passes, your face does not vanish. I just want to see your smile, that is all. I'll return everything you granted me. I'll return all the glory I've gained since that day. I don't need fortune, prestige, or gold. I'll return everything you gave me. I just want to see your smile. I beg you, Beatrice. His nonsensical yells became a scream and then a wail. Kinzo slumped to the floor, tearing at it with both hands. Genji had no choice but to wordlessly watch over his master's lamentations.
Fuck.
God damn.
Are you okay? I'm not okay.
I
I
don't.
need to take a breather. I hope this is like a good old battle. Oh, never mind.
Well, gross.
God, you just like threw yourself on the ground and have to pick your ass back up. He's so overwhelmed. Take a drink of water. You deserve it.
I will. Alright.
Take just
Take
like
a
take a
swig.
sec to yourself.
Mm.
Take a deep breath, like in through the nose, out through the mouth.
That was good.
That's a real prep.
That was like fucking. Oh my god! Like I forgot just how long some of those Kingzo segments go.
Yeah.
Like
I thought you were gonna die.
Yeah, like the first one, I was like, all right, I did all the part for this scene, right? Now, obviously, now it's gonna move on to other stuff, and then it happened again. He went back in, and then it's like, okay, now it's done, and then a third time it happened.
Fucking crazy old man.
Fucking-
Going insane in the attic.
Fucking.
Yeah.
It's basically.
Ooh. And fucking by the end, like fucking, I felt fucking. Oh my god, I feel like Kingzo. I know what it feels to be Kingzo.
Congrats, I guess.
That's real depressing.
That is.
I kind of feel like bad for you.
You shouldn't. It feels fucking great.
Honestly.
Alright. Well, ladies and gentlemen, the family head's health is not at its best. He seemed extremely sad not to be able to share lunch with you all. Now that you have gathered for this event that occurs but once a year. Goda, let the lunch begin.
Certainly, I shall begin today's luncheon.
Dr. Nanjo, is father's condition really that bad? Couldn't he have at least let us see his face?
It's more a problem of mood than physical condition. And for that, there is no medicine I can prescribe.
Hey, are we talking about his mood again? You've gotta be kidding me. We took time out of our schedules during this damn busy autumn season just to come and find out how he's doing. And now he's... Then you should be happy, Rudolph. You now know how he's doing. Or what? Would you rather take my place and try to persuade our ill-humored father to come join us? Are you kidding? Rudolph shrugged. Apparently, though Rudolph was willing to be indignant about how self-centered his father was, he wasn't particularly disappointed to be spared a face-to-face meeting.
Does it seem like his mood will improve before dinner, Kraus-Nissan?
I have no idea. If you want to know that, you should ask him directly. Although, I think his mood will improve faster if we don't bother him.
Genji-san's the only one who can get grandfather out of a funk. It's pretty pathetic, though, making the servants deal with your own parents' bad mood.
Jessica! Don't speak out of turn.
Oh, okay. She planned for her complaint to be heard only by her cousins, but it had reached even Krause's ears.
Or maybe that...
Scolded, Jessica scowled and turned away. So
I assume it's Bador's perspective because he's here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Either way,
it doesn't really sound like
you
it.
should take a break.
Yeah, that's fair.
If he's as cranky as they make him sound, he can't be that terribly sick, right? I mean, they're saying he's in a bad mood, but not that he's got no energy, which at least proves he's got his wits about him.
It's because grandfather has especially strong willpower. However, that doesn't necessarily mean his body will be able to keep up.
It'd be like that, honestly.
Yeah. Since last year they keep saying that he has 3 months left. If the initial diagnosis was correct, grandfather has been prolonging his life by willpower alone. It's right for us to worry about him.
Lunch started with the family head's seat still empty. The man who should be sitting had already grown old, and the brilliant glory which had rebuilt the Ushiromiya family in the span of a single lifetime was being forgotten. Even though they were beginning the meal with that seat still empty, no one felt as if that was odd anymore. Oh, chaperone? Yep.
Yeah.
Thank God.
Do we want to do one more?
You know, chapter couldn't have
Oh,
ended.
clock. 2:30. 1:30.